Your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Karima. I'm Palestinian. I've been calling the show for a while, so thank you for finally taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I've been a listener for the past 10 years. So I've been following you guys. I remember when Emma was back with the Young Turks, when Michael was still with you guys. But I'm sorry, I'm just nervous.
All right. Well, don't worry about it. Where are you calling from? General area.
So I'm Palestinian-American, and I am from Chicago.
Okay.
Chicago has the biggest Palestinian-American biggest Palestinian community in the U.S. People think of Michigan, but Michigan has mostly Lebanese, Yemeni, but Palestinians are mostly in Chicago.
I didn't know that.
So, more than New Jersey, too?
More than New Jersey. So Chicago is like the capital.
Okay.
First of all, I know this is going to sound cliche, but thank you for covering us. Thank you for reporting on it. It's a suffocating experience to be Palestinian now. So we appreciate what you do for us. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you guys so much. So I just wanted to tell you guys that the community here, just like the despair here in the community, there's like a little Palestine in the suburbs of Chicago, and it's like small businesses are completely dead. No one is really going to restaurants. No one is buying anything. No one is shopping. Everyone is just depressed. My sisters called me from like Alabama and Louisiana when things started happening, when the hate crimes started spiking up, thinking they were going to come to Chicago, which is sort of safer. But the little boy who died is in my child's class. I don't know if you remember him.
Yes, of course.
So I just remember having that conversation and telling them, nowhere is really safe. So we were just, things have calmed down a little bit here. And, okay, well, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes.
You're doing
I
great.
wrote down a few things. Okay. So, one thing I wanted to say is, I just wanted to give you a few. So my sister is a professor at a university in the West Bank, and things are very depressing over there too. Schools are not in session. The stores in Ramallah, half of them are closed because the economy has taken a serious hit. The Israelis have let the Palestinian Authority know, so it's usually areas A, B, and C. A is under Palestinian rule. C is B is like 50-50 between PA and Israel, and then C is just belongs to Israel. And these are all areas in the West Bank. So they let the Palestinian Authority know that there is no A, B anymore, so it's all C. So the IDF has just rampant, and there are just no rules anymore, and they come into the big population centers before it was kind of rare and far between where they would come into Ramallah or Jericho or Nablus, but now they come in and do as they please, and they have been just robbing businesses blind and claiming that these businesses have ties to Hamas when that's not the case. It's never been proven or anything like that.
I saw a video, it might have been in the West Bank, I believe it was, of an Israeli soldier harassing a worker. I'm going to see if I can find the video right here. Yeah, I guess this is in Hebron, actually, where he's just working at a gas station, and they get him on his knees and step on his back as they walk out after kicking him. This is just the kind of, from what I'm seeing on social media, and you're confirming it, the quotidian harassment that has stepped up in the West Bank in particular, that, I feel like doesn't get reported enough, right? Because there's seemingly like a lot of ignorance about the geographical differences and then where Hamas even is here in the United States.
And I didn't hear about the story that you mentioned, but the reason I didn't hear is because he's actually considered the lucky ones. I mean, now if you do get shot and killed, whether you are innocent or not, and people are mostly innocent, but it's not that the other side will not even face any repercussions. It's I'm sorry. It's that no one will even care, or even if we like, if they deem that we have like a bigger funeral or ceremony or some sort of way to honor the dead, then they will come and attack that too. So we can't even grieve for the dead person. There's no hope of getting any sort of justice. So people are just scared, and they are at home, and life isn't what it was like before, is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, English is not my first language.
No, what you're saying all makes sense, and it's incredibly tragic, and you know, I think I can't speak for everybody who's listening to this, but I think everyone feels, you know, I think our hearts go out to you, and I can't imagine how the level of despair and I don't know how people maintain hope in this scenario, to be honest with you.
Well, I have two more things to say.
Go ahead.
Has my time run out?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I know that there was a caller that called from a settlement called Efron. I forgot the name of the settlement, but he called right before you guys went on break.
Yeah.
And he was just explaining life in that settlement in the West Bank. So I lived in the West Bank for 7 years, and in the entirety of those 7 years, I've actually never like met a Jewish person. I've never seen anyone Israeli other than the IDF. So if we wanted to cross the wall or the checkpoint to Jerusalem, I've never been to Jerusalem. I've never seen the Dome of the Rock. I tried one time, but I think they denied me entry. I was 13 years old, but life is just so divided there that I honestly I see the settlements, but I've never seen anyone other than the IDF. We are not allowed to cross into Israel. However, they can, Israelis and even settlers, so I'm from Area C in the West Bank, and we have to use the same road, but when it's time to turn into my village, there are red signs saying, warning to any Israelis, you cannot go beyond this line. So there's no wall or barrier, and if they do go in, then it's their responsibility. But for us, if we even dare to try to cross like a place that we're not supposed to, we immediately would get shot. So I think in the West Bank, technically, I think the PA controls only 13% of the West Bank, but I could be wrong. And
well, now that you mentioned the PA, I mean, as someone who's lived in the West Bank and has family there, you know, what is, I know that the PA is quite unpopular based on like polling numbers we see, but I mean, is it basically widely considered that the PA is kind of subservient to the Israeli government?
Oh yeah, and they're very corrupt. The president and his lackeys are worth billions, and they would benefit from the status quo continuing. And Hamas has no real power in the West Bank. So I know sometimes there are some student governments in different universities that have these elections, and I even know some of my Christian friends that voted for Hamas just in those elections, but they continually get harassed not just from Israel, but from the PA, and they never give them a chance to actually win. It's just like a student body sort of election. It's more symbolic in these universities, but a lot of times Hamas does win, but that's never announced, or they never let that happen. The PA or the Israelis. So there is no Hamas in the West Bank, but even if they do hear hints here and there, they're immediately crushed.
Well, I think it was just, again, the other day, I think it was Smotrich who said Hamas is an asset for us in terms of preventing any type of like Palestinian autonomy. And I think it's because it, Hamas is a much easier sell to the rest of the world as to why we can't allow Palestinians to have any type of sovereignty or autonomy. And it's, I don't know, it's, go ahead.
Oh, so I heard Jesse Waters one time on Fox News say, "I'm done with Palestinians. No one wants them." And I just wonder, where does he think we're from? Like, does he think we want to leave? Does he think we want to immigrate to the U.S., to leave, to go to Europe or the U.S.? My family has, so we're not refugees. So there's the refugees outside of Palestine, and then 50% of people in West Bank and Gaza are internal refugees. My family is not. My grandfather's house was built in 1908, and it still says that in 1908. So when he says no one wants them, we're not asking to move anywhere. We're just asking to live in our homeland. So it just shocks me, just the level of how much he doesn't know, and how much, but they have no problem saying statements like, who was it that said no one is innocent, kill them all, murder them all, and people still think I'm Pakistani. People don't know what Palestinian is. It just sounds like Pakistan. We're both. I'm Muslim, so a lot of people don't really know much about it, but I just wish that the American public would be more educated, since Israel wouldn't do any of this without funding from the U.S. And one last thing, this is what I wanted to end with. So my friend is a doctor in Gaza, and she said that the kids in Gaza have trauma beyond their endurance, and there's this new phenomenon of just so these kids haven't slept in 2-3 months, and they get so scared from the bombing that they're having like this tense adrenaline rush, and that is leading to cardiac arrest. So I just don't even know how to describe little kids dying of cardiac arrest. I think that's a heart attack, but just of the fear, because they're scared. They are malnutritioned. They haven't slept a day in the past 2 months, and now they are dying of fear. And it's gotten so bad that I don't know if you've listened to the speech at the UN the other day, 1,000 children had to be amputated without anesthesia, and a lot of them have no moms or dads to comfort them. So I have a child that, when he gets a paper cut, he just wants me to hug him for an hour, whereas these little kiddos have no one.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for everything that you do, you, Emma, and everyone else. I appreciate it. I'm always listening and watching you guys, and it's not going unnoticed, and I'm sure doing this is not, I don't know if it's helping you, but it's probably caused you some problems too. So I appreciate the sacrifice, and thank you again. So yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, again, our heart goes out to you, and I don't know what else to say, frankly, to be honest with you. Honestly, I really don't know what to say. It's just, our heart goes out to you, and, hopefully there'll be some cessation to this, and then maybe some justice in the future. But
do you expect it to end anytime soon?
No.
I don't. I think there's maybe a chance that there is going to be, that the intensity of the assault is going to begin to diminish, and then maybe some aid will get in there. But I think long term, I think it's going to be a long time before there is any type of peace, and even longer before there's any type of justice. At least, peace that kids can go to sleep. It's just a horror. And I can only imagine how difficult it is. I mean, knowing how difficult it is to not have the type of investment that you have in it emotionally, and the family and whatnot. I can only imagine, because it's been painful from my perspective, and it's not even remotely as sort of material as it is for you. And so all I can tell you is that I'm sorry, and that I
and we're not going to stop talking about. I feel like there's like this thrust to move on, or people have fatigue from headlines and stuff like that. But I feel like at least a lot of, I want to do my small part or whatever to cover it. And I'm we're thinking of you and your family and everybody who's in the line of fire here. It's unimaginable.
Hopefully the world can get its shit together. In South Africa, or Malaysia endorsed South Africa's application before the International Criminal Court of Justice against Israel for genocide in the Gaza Strip. It should be every country on earth.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye.